like introduce myself. And I'm not only a moderator, but also a speaker. So I'll present you my talk, which is Past for Future. So we'll see. So you can see? Yes? Okay. So I will start. My talk, Past for Future. Who is responsible for the climate change? I'm Lyudmila Shumilovskih from University of Göttingen in Germany. So I will explain you actually what is paleoecology first of all, and how do we deal with all this stuff, and then we will see some examples and some discussion points. So I will explain it based on pollen, which I'm expert in. So, you know, plants are flowering, produce pollen. Pollen are getting everywhere and also in water, and then they can be preserved there in the lake. So then vegetation changed, but plants are still flowering. We have different pollen in the lake, and it's happening during ages. And once upon a time, we paleoecologists coming to the lake and take this record, which we called paleo record. Then looking at this pollen content, we can reconstruct vegetation back in time and also find triggers of changes. So this is how it works. So pollen, you can study pollen, you can study some geochemistry, you can study some animals, whatever, anything in these sediments. And now we are coming to the climate change. So we know that climate is changing. We hear it every day or every year, that this year, the last year was the warmest year during the history. And how do we know that we hear also that humans made this? So this is handmade climate change. How do we know that? If you look at IPCC reports, IPCC is the Intergovernmental Panel for Climate Change. They are working more than 20 years on this topic. It's a very huge research consortium from different countries. So you can see on this graph, so they compiled very nice study. How do we know humans are causing climate change? And here you can see observed records, which is in black, which is compared to results of the models, which was used which was run with different forcing, with natural causes, with human-caused aerosols in the atmosphere, greenhouse gases. And actually, you can see it very nicely here that only combined effect of human and natural causes fits with observational records. So from this, we can clearly conclude that humans contribute the most to our increase in temperature to observed record, and especially greenhouse gases are responsible for that. And if you look in the past, so the past, yes, so paleoecology, we can study different records. And here you can see the record from ice, from Antarctic, taken from Antarctic. People analyzed gas in air bubbles in this core. And then you can see, so these measurements for the last 800,000 years, we have very nice variation in carbon dioxide, increasing during warm periods, decreasing during cold periods, and actually very nice variation. Also the same for methane. And what we also see that this unprecedented increase in concentration of carbon dioxide and methane in the last, after industrial revolution, let's say, which is much higher than during these natural conditions for 800,000 years. So we do create this climate change. And what can we say? Okay, global warming, what does it mean for small regional, for concrete regions where we live? What does it mean for us, people? And I will show you my studies. So this is actually the studies which are where I'm working around the world. So yeah, quite a big range. And I will show you an example from this area, from area Ukraine and Russia, this border area, Kursk and Kharkiv. We had a project there. And the question when we started the project was, will the region remain sustainable for agriculture when we have global temperature increase? Why is it important? I think I don't need to explain you that this region is the bread basket for the whole Europe. And we heard a lot in the media last years when the war started, how important this region is for agriculture and for bread production, wheat production. So our question was regarding the global temperature increase and how this region will react to this increase. And if you look at the models, and future models are run usually for the whole globe or this over-regional. As you can see on these maps, they are run for the whole Europe. And if we are interested in our small region, so we just can scale down and see, okay, what's happening there? You see this small, tiny region. So we can learn from these models. They are different. They have different scenario. Some models are optimistic. Some are more or less okay, and some are very pessimistic. So let's check what did happen in the past and what can we say about the future. We did paleoecological studies in the region. So we took a core and counted pollen on this and check the vegetation changes. And we can see that the period was actually a very open environment with steppe vegetation. And once upon a time, it was covered by forests. So this shows also our reconstruction show that the climate was semi-arid for the most of the time, and then it's getting more humid to the recent time, so basically to today. Also precipitation increased to the recent time. So what does it mean? If we look at the so-called Holocene climate optimum, which was between 8 and 6,000 years ago and had 1 degree centigrade higher, the general climate was warmer on Earth. In this region, we had semi-arid climate with steppe dominance and much lower precipitation. It means that if our in the future, with increase in temperature, we can expect that the region will dry out and our production, our agriculture is in danger. So basically our data from the past confirm the pessimistic future scenario model. And yes, to sum up, of course, our climate change is not only the only problem we caused to the Earth. So we know that from the Second World War, we have increase in global population, increase of carbon emissions, which we already discussed. We have increase in iron and steel production, increase in plastic and in different wastes, and increase in meat consumption. So we change the Earth, change the ecosystems very strongly. And now maybe already, at least now, is the point to think about it and do something. So be responsible for what you're doing and how do you live. Thank you. This was my talk. Thank you very much for your attention. Okay, now, thank you, Ludmila, for this nice talk and so on. So if you ask anytime to be a moderator and a speaker, do never agree. So this I learned from today. Okay, do you have questions?